there is a lot of gun violence, a lot of gangs, and you had to. Here's the thing that I say. A lot of people always say, "Oh, well, you had a choice. You had a choice. You had a choice. You don't have a choice. If you grow up in the kind of projects, you don't really have a choice because this is how it goes. Let's say there's always more than one gang, right? There can be three, there can be four, there can be one, there can be two, whatever. In my projects, there was like three or four, right? So think about it. If you're a kid growing up in the projects, right, and there are three or four gangs that are in that projects, right, what do you think is going to happen to you if you don't join one? You're going to get your ass kicked from all four, right? So at least if you become part of something, then you have protection from the other things. So it's not something that you can say that you have a choice because you really don't have a choice, right? So, you join a gang and you become part of, the gang becomes part of your family. Well, they become your family. They become you, and and they become more important than your family. So that was kind of my situation.
Wow. So were a lot of your friends and a lot of people that you knew, they were all in gangs?
Yeah. Like all my friends. I didn't have normal friends. And anyone who was normal, I didn't like them. So I already, and then what happens, I already developed like just a hatred for people in general. Like
really?
As a kid, I just didn't like, I was an angry kid. Mm-hmm. So I was always looking for some fuel to piss me off, to do something. I was really crazy and just not normal by any means.
You were telling me that story about your mom and the bike. Some kid stole your bike.
Oh, yeah. I told you that story?
Yeah, you told me that on the phone.
Oh, my God, that's crazy. Because I don't tell most people that story.
Really?
Yeah, so the fact that I told you that story is crazy. You're actually the only person who's ever heard that story as a podcaster or on any show ever.
Really?
So that's crazy. I tell you a story. But
wow,
yeah,
today's my lucky day.
That's crazy. But yeah, so I remember when I think I can't remember how young I was, but I was definitely very young, and I had a bike and I was downstairs, and some kid took my bike. Like he told me let him ride it. I let him ride it, and the kid wouldn't give it back. And I went upstairs crying, and my mom.
How old were you?
I want to say 10. Let's just say it's got to be 10. It's got to be really young, because by 13 I would have just it wouldn't have been good. But yeah, it had to be like 9 or 10. And I came upstairs crying, and my mom told me, she says, "Listen, if you don't go back downstairs and get that bike, I'm gonna kick your ass all over this place." And I was like, "Whoa." And my mom was no joke. Like, my mom would hurt you for real. So I was more scared of my mom. I went downstairs. The kid's still there, and like literally punched him in the face. and he started crying. They took my bike and went back upstairs. And then my mom said, "Good job." Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
But this is the same mom who also said, "Hey, you shouldn't be out there fighting." So.
Well, I mean, that was probably good for you in a way.
Yeah.
To do that. I mean, that was a pretty good lesson she taught you, even though it was a really young age, especially living in that part, in that kind of town. You know what I mean? In New York.
Yeah.
You got to be tough when you're young to be able to survive and be able to make it, right?
Yeah, you do. I mean, if you're not, then people will try to take advantage of you, or people judge you a lot just by the way your face looks, or by the way your demeanor is. So there's a lot of times you'll see people walking around with this face like this, but that might not even be really that might not be their heart. That might not even be where they're at. But a lot of times they know that if they're not like that, then people are going to say, "Oh, yo, you know what? Yeah, that dude's soft, yo. Let's get him," something like that. So a lot of people walk around, try to be like, "Yo, I'm hard. Like I've gotten to some crazy stuff in terms of that kind of thing, where a particular individual was trying to be hard and put a gun to my face, and I slapped the shit out of him, dropped the gun, tried to shoot him. And guess what? He had no bullets in the gun. So
he dropped his gun and you picked it
up.
up.
It was crazy. It happened in the club, and he it's a long story. It had to do with a girl and him talking nonsense. And I was with my boys and you know. And another thing, when you're with your gang, you feel like Superman. It doesn't matter. Like you're all powerful, and this feeling because your boys got your back, and I can't explain it, but it's just such a powerful feeling. And this kid put a gun to my face, was talking shit about
in a nightclub,
outside a nightclub, about his girl and whatever, and I just got pissed off. I just fucking backslapped him like bang, as hard as I can, and he dropped the gun on the floor. And then I picked it up, and guess what? It had no fucking bullets in it. So he's walking around with a gun with no bullets, right? 0 bullets. And I've encountered a lot of that kind of stuff in my life, where you know, people try to present themselves as something that they're not. I mean, it's happened another time too, when I was with one of my closest friends who's in my gang, and the kid came up to us. You know, we were walking, the kid's looking at us, and we just looked at them. Then they walked away, and then they started coming back. I told my boy, yo, we're gonna have to fight right now because these motherfuckers coming back. And they started coming back towards us, and all it was, oh, why you looking at us? How you know we looking at you if you're not looking at us? You know, some real dumbness. And then the kid was just talking, and the kid pulled out a gun. And, you know, one of his friends, at the time, I had this name called Tragedy. Like, that was my gang name, Tragedy.
They called you Tragedy? Why they call you that?
Because if you mess with me, it was going to be a tragedy for you. But that was my name. It was Tragedy. So, and then one of the kids was like, yo, I think Tragedy knows your brother. Because this kid's brother was a gangster, and his brother was in jail. And then it so happened that they figured out that we knew each other. And then the kid kind of like said, all right, whatever. And he left it alone. But I wasn't going to leave it alone because this motherfucker just pulled out a gun on me. So a few days later, I was with my boy, and this is during high school, and we saw him. And my boy was like, yo, that's the kid from the day right there. So I was like, word. So I got my other 2 boys, and we went and followed him, and he went into a store. And I went into the store, and someone says, yo, remember me? Yo, let's talk. I want to talk to you, right? And I wasn't going to do nothing to him, but I just wanted to make a point. I was always about making a point. So he didn't want to come out the store. And I was like, no, just come out. I said, don't worry. No one's packing anything. We just want to talk to you. Just come out. Just come out. So he finally came out the store, and I was like, yo, you remember the other day you put a gun in my face? I said, yo, if you put a gun in somebody's face, then you better use it. I said, don't put a gun in somebody's face, and then don't use that shit. Because right now, I could just end your life right now if I wanted to, right? So I told him, I says, you know, I got respect for your brother, but what you want to do? You want to keep this or you want to end this? How you want to do it? And then he just chose to just squash it. So we squashed it. But, you know, like I said, there's a lot of kind of those kind of things going around where people, you know, want to be that gangster, but they're not really that gangster.
Yeah. Was there a lot of gun violence being involved with those gangs? You see a lot of people getting shot all the time? Like
I've had friends who's gotten shot in front of me. You know, I've gotten grazed twice.
Gotten what?
Grazed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in a shootout?
Like, well, just running. I mean, people shooting at you. You know, yeah, because you know, a lot of times in the projects or even around surrounding areas, if someone's got beef with you, you don't know when they're coming. So when you ever hear the terms about having eyes behind your head, right? You don't know when they're coming. You don't know how people are coming for you, and you don't know who. Sometimes you don't know who. A lot of times, you know, you see people just run up on someone. If you watch any of this stuff you see on the news, right? Yeah. The person didn't call them and say, "Yo, I'm gonna come get you at 4:00." Nah, nobody says that. They just go. And if you happen to be there, you don't even know. The guy runs up on you and starts shooting at you. Now, fun fact, most people who have guns can't shoot. This is a huge, it's a fact. Yeah. Most people who have guns illegally cannot shoot. Now, it doesn't mean you guys got to come try to shoot me now to prove a point. But you know, but you know what I'm talking about. Most people, because you know, in order to shoot a gun properly, you have to take training to do it.
Right.
I mean, this is not shooting a gun properly, right? It's not. It's just not. And most people miss point blank range. Most people shoot you here and they kick back and they'll miss. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But isn't it true that most people that are in gangs that own guns, I mean, they're not, I mean, people in gangs, they're not necessarily killers. Like, they're not just trying to go out and kill people.
No.
They're doing it to protect themselves for the most part, right?
Yeah, the most part of it is just trying to protect what's yours,
Yeah.
and not letting someone else come in and try to step in and take what's yours, By all means necessary, you want to protect what's yours. But yeah, it's pretty much.